Good morning. My name is Lopez.
I'm Ehrenwald.
And we will be presenting Qatar for G028. Okay.
Well, first of all, Qatar is located in a small peninsula that extends to the west in Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates in the south, and it's a mainly barren country, and it's very small.
Okay.
Well, Qatar's flag is maroon and white, with a white serrated band with 9 points. The maroon color represents the bloodshed of the Qataris' wars, and the white represents the peace, while the 9 white points represents Qatar as the 9th state of the reconciled Emirates. That it was done in following 1916 from Great Britain, and the flag was considered official in 1971, 9th of July, when they became independent from the British.
Okay. Well, Qatar is located in the Middle East. Here, it is a peninsula bordering the Persian Gulf and Saudi Arabia. The capital of Qatar is Doha, which is located in the east of the country. Qatar has natural resources such as oil, have brought wealth to the country. Nowadays, 85% of Qatar's income comes from exports from oil. Well, the population in 2012 was of 2.5 million, and currently the currency of Qatar is the Qatari Rial, which is abbreviated QR. Well, the history. In 1916, the Emir agreed to allow Qatar to become a British protectorate. In the 1940s, oil was discovered, and it brought a lot of wealth to the country. And well, in 1971, Qatar was mainly to join the United Arab Emirates, but both countries decided against the merge, so instead it became an independent nation. Further, Qatar joined the League of Arab States, which main goal is to draw closer the relation between countries and coordinate the collaboration between them. Well, nowadays, Qatar is the world's richest country per capita, and in 2022, it will host the FIFA World Cup.
Government. The government of Qatar is a constitutional emirate. Emirate comes from the word emir, where here the ruler is called emir instead of a ruler or governor or whatever. The royal family, you could say, is the Al Thani family. Right now, the president or the emir of this country is, well, you can't really see it, but it's Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. And Sheikh is like the title that they have, is not really part of the name. The executive authority is the ones who, who decide what's going to happen on it. And the legislative authority advises the council. What the emir does is sort of like what the queen does, where he's more like the face and goes to speeches, he signs contracts, but he doesn't really do all the rules. He is the one that hires the prime minister and can fire them too. And the role of the ministries and other government agencies. So he is just more the face, not really the one who controls everything. The constitution was in 1970 before independence, and that's sort of like the book of laws, who are what they have to follow in this country. Their ideology. They practice Islam. They have two types of Islam. It's the Sunni and the Shia. The Sunni is elected by the people of this religion, and the Shia, they have the belief that the Imam, is like the leader of this group, is chosen by divine intervention or descendant of Muhammad. Then 10% are other cultures, and 8.5 are Christians. The Joint Muslim Brotherhood. This is an organization mostly known because of terrorism. Also, the other one most known is Al-Qaeda. Also, the Turkish AK is the conservation democracy. They try to conserve the democracy in Qatar. And Al Jazeera Muslim Brotherhood. The Al Jazeera is a television networking of Qatar, and it's controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood. So they put out what they think is correct for the Muslims or the people from Qatar to believe and think. And Foreign Policies was formed in 1995. And
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the domestic issues that right now are affecting Qatar. Well, first of all, the foreign policy of Qatar is acting as a mediator and a financial supporter for all the Middle East countries, but has a lack of coherent strategy that is making Qatar susceptible to international domestic issues. And the first issue is terrorism. Although Qatar has been known to not be a terrorist country, in other parts of the Arab world, there's some current problems like the Arab Spring, that is a religious protest and civil wars that are occurring like there. And for example, the Syrian civil war that was against the regime of the President Bashar al-Assad. And so in 2011, Qatar had been backing up the rebels by giving up arms and protection. And this has been a problem since other countries don't really trust Qatar anymore, because it is very dangerous to give arms to rebels. Another issue is the Libyan uprising, that it was also in 2011. And this was because it was the fourth consecutive rule of Muammar al-Gaddafi that was leading to a civil war and needed international military interventions. And so Qatar also helped in this situation by giving arms and sending their troops to there, and also fomenting the other troops to focus on Libya. It is also, Qatar is very important that it's a member of the INTK, which is an organization that is responsible for the money laundering and to finance other countries in North Africa and Middle East. And so the INTK has registered in 2012 that Qatar has no terrorist influences, but because Qatar is very involved in international issues, it has a high risk of becoming one-time terrorist, and this can affect Qatar.
allies of Qatar. Allies. Well, they have few, but the few that they have are major allies. So it's U.S., France, England, and Arab countries and Islamic civilization. The U.S., the relation with U.S., they have what is a economic link between each other. Qatar has a military facility, the U.S. military facility in Qatar, and also they work with Qatar to organize and to prevent any commotion in the Middle Eastern countries, by the Middle Eastern countries. Then France is linked to them, you could say, is because of NATO, because they have common interests. And right now, a lot of Muslims have moved to France, and so now Qatar and France are trying to work together. So the Muslims who live in France can live a better life, because right now their lifestyle in France is very bad. They live in very poor areas. So Qatar wants them to live in a better area and is trying to work with France to make it a better place for them. And England, they don't have actually direct ties to them, but England being so united with the U.S., when there is a commotion, Qatar usually helps, and England is usually present. And Arab countries and Islamic civilization, well, they do have ties, but they try to stay away from them. They have ties when it comes to religion, mostly, trade of oil, and other common interests. And countries are enemies. Okay. Well, Qatar also has a lot of enemies. Their main one is Iran, being that they've always been enemies from a long time ago. They've always fight because of religion, beliefs, ideology, petroleum, and other stuff. And they have a lot of problems with their border countries. Also, Iran does not like the United States, and Qatar right now trying to befriend, you could say, the United States and help them as much as possible. Iran is another way why they're pushing each other. Another thing is that the United Nations and the US have told Qatar to start making amends with the other countries because being such a small country, one day all of these countries are going to retaliate against Qatar and it won't end good.
Okay, well, let's talk about the economy of Qatar. Well, Qatar is considered one of the potential powers from the Gulf countries, as right now it is increasing in growth because of their natural petroleum and liquefied gas. And their GDP in 2001 was 181.7 billion, and their GDP growth was approximately 18.7%. And it is quickly growing because of this natural gases, and also they are increasing their industry with other countries. Their main industries are the crude oil, refining, cement, and ship repairment. And they import food from Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. And Qatar's World Cup in 2022 is surely to estimate to accelerate the infrastructure and make it a more powerful country. And it has been stable during 5 years, and it is a country with the lowest unemployment.
Okay, I'm going to talk about now two of the main issues, global issues that have been affecting this country. Well, we know that terrorism is not a new issue on this region. Ever since the Cold War, there has been an increasing presence. There has been an increasing presence of terrorist networks in the Middle East and the Afro-Arab region. Well, Qatar, since the 9/11 attacks in the United States, has established both a combating terrorist law and a Qatar authority for charitable activities, which monitor the operations of all charitable activities of Qatar to prevent them from funneling cash to terrorist networks. Well, ever since, the country's actions have been careful in order to prevent biased postures, in favor of the United States or other nations. Well, the growth of terrorist networks has been affecting millions in the Afro-Arab region, and networks such as Al-Qaeda have been responsible for thousands of deaths and the repression and constant fear of many others. Well, Qatar and other members of the Afro-Arab Summit have been working together in order to find a solution to this problem and put an end to the growth of terrorist networks. Okay, well, another important issue of this country is the resource efficiency. There are not enough resources to carry the necessities for all the population in this region. Principally, there is a lack of water in these regions. And well, the Middle East and North Africa are the scarcest regions of the world. And there are several hypotheses that say that this is due to the climate changes, which affect, because there has been a constant rise of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and this is making the world heat, and so it's been harder to find water in these Douro regions. Well, since the Douros of the 1980s, people now know that water is a scarce resource in the planet. Well, the resources that are provided from the rivers, such as the Nile, Euphrates, and Tigris, are not enough to cater the necessities of all the population. So there have been many conflicts have been emerging from this. Well, as a consequence of water scarcity, also a lot of health and sanitation issues have arisen. Many people are dying from issues such as malnutrition, and well, this is affecting thousands of people, and is one of the one of the principal deaths in this region. Well, also the agriculture and irrigation also require a lot of water, and there is not enough to do this. So there has also been a lot of hunger due to the lack of crops. Qatar has been, well, as we know, Qatar is a very wealthy region, so a very wealthy nation. So Qatar has been reviewing the options of becoming a self-sufficient country. By this, they are willing to re-engineer the crops in order to make them grow in the thorough land. So this way, Qatar will be independent and won't need all the imports from all the other countries. But while this is a very expensive solution, and it's a very it is a long-term solution, and unfortunately, not all the countries in this region have enough money to invest in this long-term solution. So it's not a very viable solution, although Qatar is, well, Qatar has the option to do this. Okay. Well, nowadays, water scarcity is still affecting millions. The average Arab citizen has 8 times less access to water than an average normal global citizen. And well, more than 2/3 of surface water resources from Qatar originate from the outside of the region. So Qatar depends a lot on the imports of the country to satisfy all the needs of its population. Well, Qatar has implemented policies in order to solve this problem. Policies to enhance water management, to diminish water waste, and have a more efficient irrigation system. By implementing these policies, Qatar is, well, taking a better care of the current water resource it has, like, in order to prevent it from wasting. And well, this is a problem that has been affecting millions. Fortunately, Qatar is part of the Afro-Arab Committee, and all these regions and countries have been working together in order to find a solution. And Qatar is also willing to help and act with all the other nations in order to put an end to this trouble. Okay, that's all.
Yes. Why do you think that Qatar is a country that is not very well known among people, like, worldwide, if it apparently has a lot of influence in different aspects and it's involved with great countries, and, like, in general nobody knows much about Qatar?
Okay, well, it can be said that Qatar is a very small region which is located in, well, besides a really big country, so maybe all the attention is focused to these really big countries, and Qatar is just a small peninsula that is, like, set apart, and well, it has been gaining influence because of its wealth. Qatar discovered oil in the 1940s, and since then it has become one of the most richest countries, and well, it has been increasing its popularity, but this was very recent, so it has not been known for too long.
What other solutions could you give for the terrorism network problem?
Okay, increasing security in the borders. And for the terrorism, I think it's very important to to monitor all the financial activities of the countries in order to prevent them from funneling cash to terrorist networks. And well, as I said, having more security in the borders in order to prevent weapon trafficking and illegal, illegal activity. Okay?
Do you think hosting a World Cup will be good for the country?
Well, it will bring a lot of status, and I think they are mainly doing this to show the world they are a powerful country and capable of hosting an events such as the World Cup. So yeah, it will bring a lot of popularity amongst the powerful countries in the world.
Also to add that it also is a statistic that giving the World Cup will have a lot of cost, but it will surely bring Qatar to a better ranking.
Yeah, it will bring also a lot of profits from tourism.
It also sort of answers your question about how to make it more popular. By doing this, it will make people go to it and know about Qatar.
And how do you think that being the richest country in the Arab League could help other countries?
Well, Qatar is able to invest in in many projects for other nations that could help for their irrigation systems or other problems such as
Or it can also help them, like if they're having terrorist problems or any other financial problems, Qatar has like the resource to maybe help them and fund them, and they can find a solution to the problems.
William?
Are there many violations to human rights and civil rights in Qatar?
Not really. Okay, I really don't know about that. Qatar, well, actually,
Well, if you want, what happens is that in Qatar, there is laws, but a lot of people follow what is the religions and the beliefs of these people. So they don't really follow the laws that the family wants them to follow, like any of terrorism. But like in any other country, you can't really stop it. You can just try to enforce it and try to make it better without violating anymore.
Can you explain me more about the religion in Qatar?
The religion in Qatar, what do you want to know specifically?
Like the ideals of, for example, marriage.
Their marriage system is much more like the Muslims, so it's the same beliefs, so like that the man is more of like the great power in the house, and then the women are just like minors, and the guy is sort of like the one who rules the house.
So the parents arrange the marriage.
Sort of.
Regarding the Arabs in France and the liaison they have with the French for Muslim, a better life for Muslims in France, is it for all Muslims or only for Qatari Muslims?
Well, I think that I understood when I was reading this article was that it's focused on all Muslims, but Qatar is helping because most of their people are there, so they're just helping all the Muslims that are in this area.